Hello and welcome to video number 18 for Networks and Data Security. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of extending available bandwidth to customers. Now to start us off, I'm going to be talking about things that kind of fall in the middle, between the pros and the cons. Now, I know you're probably thinking, but Chris, it's either good or bad. It can't be in the middle. Isn't the world black and white? Good or bad? How can it be both? Simple. I'm talking about the features that don't fall into the pro column for either party involved, but also aren't a con. And there aren't many of those. Don't worry, let's go. Captive portal. Now I know you're probably thinking, but Chris, a captive portal is a pro for the company because it identifies each user. All right, well, it's also a con for the user because it's a pain in the ass to use and have to sign up and register just to get access to check your email, especially when you're in an airport. Have you ever set something like this up in Pearson? I hated it. And all of a sudden got pop-ups. The captive portal bit was kind of, yeah. Now you're probably right. Captive portal has a pro or benefit for the company that's making use of this because it identifies each user and the traffic that's going to whom. I get that. But there's no pro involved for the client or the customer having to register to use the internet. Right? It's just it takes more time in order for them to connect and make use of the service. Now that being said, the idea, the dream would be that it makes the network almost a little bit more secure because people need to register and be identified to use the network. So the things they do are going to be recorded and tracked and whatnot. And it may help dissuade somebody from doing things they shouldn't on the network. Okay. But again, have you ever used a captive portal? Have you ever made an account? It could be anything you like. Really, all you're really doing is agreeing to their terms of service and signing in. It attaches a unique identifier to your device. You could be right next to the access point. You could be 100 feet away, depending on the tech setup. It doesn't really make anything more secure. And again, I don't know that there's any pro or con for this one. And kind of right in the middle, for at least from my perspective, is the available bandwidth per user. It depends. The available bandwidth could be a pro for the client. I mean, if it's fast and responsive, and great. But it could also be a con if there's too many users on the network at a time. But this may be mitigated by the limited number of sessions if the business has set up the system to work that way. You know, if they've limited the amount of internet that each user can use, and there's only, say, one or two on there, you could have no problems. But if they've let all the user bases run rampant on their network, well, you could have all the problems with speed, let alone whether or not you're even able to connect in the first place. Now, a definite pro to having internet access in your business is that it brings business. People are liable to spend more time there. For example, McDonald's, people go there, they get the food and drive through, mostly that's fine. But, people that go there to eat or to get their breakfast, to spend, say 20 minutes there in the morning, they get the food, they eat it, they go. Since introducing, internet access, I don't know for anybody, I won't speak for anybody else, but I know for myself, when I sit down to eat a meal at McDonald's, first thing I do is connect my phone to the internet. I'm not saying the network's secure or that I do anything private or important on it, but I spend a little bit more time there. I take my time. I'm able to relax. And I would imagine that by proxy for some would mean spending more money there or bringing more people there, or people are more likely to go there instead of, say, the other fast food joint, I'll just call it that, that does not have internet access. Plus, it can also be a means of advertising. In order to connect to this network, this is a pro for the business, of course. In order to connect to the network, you have to go through the captive portal, which is a website that you force every single user of that service to go through. And why not put an advertisement for that new sandwich on there, or to showcase where the cafeteria is located in the hospital, where restrooms are, or how to get information, or even a link to, say, the hospital's website that's just to the map, to show you where things are. The captive portal can be a pro for both sides of the exchange, depending on the information that's presented. Now the cons. There are more of these easily. Security. Again, the more users you have connected to the network, the more potential that you have for somebody trying to do or that's able to do things they shouldn't on the network. This opens not just the other users up, but also your network up to the risk of attack. Security on the network should be one of the most important things when you're setting up this kind of system. That being said, ideally, your client or customer or patient network is going to be separate and apart from any integral core business network. It's very easy to set this sort of thing up to make sure that that network is isolated from your business network. You're providing them a service and access to the internet. They don't need access or internet connectivity to the same resources that your work system is working off of. Never mind the fact that the more users connected to that patient or client network is going to affect the available bandwidth and transmit speed of your network. Now, having an isolated network, having layered networks or segregated network infrastructures, setting this service up in the first place all comes with a cost. Now, you have to think about the trade-off here in that the more secure you want your network to be, the more robust, the better quality service that you want it to provide, the more users you want it to support, the wider area and range you want access to be available. All of these things aggregate together into the package, and the package itself can easily grow from what's in, that's it, that's all it's going to cost, sure, why not, to I don't know if we can do this. The overhead and cost of setting up a network structure like this depends on the architecture involved. So the wider the area you need to extend the internet to, say over the area of a hospital, which will have several floors, and I mean the surface area on each floor can be anything from the size of some of our clinics here in Thunder Bay to the sprawling metropolises in places like Toronto and Ottawa. And again, the number of users that you expect to make use of this between, say, a small McDonald's cafe compared to the wireless network access, say in the McIntyre building here at Confederation, the very subtle differences can also be very costly. So make sure that if you're going to be planning this sort of network structure and architecture, you look into previously instantiated plans. Well-established reporting is going to show you the costs of things, and production plans. You'll be able to find different kinds of quotes based on the surface area of the floor to be covered of the business, or the equipment being used, or the quality of the service, the expected number of users that it'll have to support. All of these things. Do some research. Take a look. Just to give yourself an idea of the kind of, not just the work involved, but the cost involved, and what it could mean to the bottom line. This video was short and sweet, which is exactly what I needed right now. Thanks for watching. Next time, video number 19, we're going to be talking about confidentiality, privacy, and reporting regulations. And, well, this is just going to be a whole bunch of fun. I hope you have as much coffee, if not more than I do.